Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamlyn and this is Sewn on the Tyne, and I'm here today with the next video in my How to Sew With series. So in this series of videos I talk through a fabric type, what it is, what it can be used for, pattern suggestions, and just sort of a bit more of an insight into that sort of fabric type. This video is in collaboration with Lamaze fabrics, so I am part of their blogger team. With that, I produce this series of videos, which means that the garment that I'll talk about that I've made has been made with Lamaze fabrics fabric that they provided for me in exchange for this video. If the background looks a bit different, it's because we've moved things around in here. This is going to become the nursery for our baby, and you can see there is painting tape on either side of the door frame because we've been painting around there, so excuse the difference in background. So at the end of the last video I asked you to vote for the next fabric type that I would focus on, and the winning fabric type was Viscose Twill. So that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, giving you a bit more information about Viscose Twill and talking through what I've made with that fabric. So before we get into specifically Viscose Twill, it's worth mentioning what viscose is to start with. So viscose is also known as rayon. I think in the United States it's referred to as rayon, but rayon and viscose are sort of interchangeable terms. It's a very durable fabric and it's soft to the touch. Now it is a semi-synthetic fabric, so the primary ingredient in viscose is wood pulp. So that obviously is an organic, natural material, but then the synthetic side of it comes in because it goes through such a lengthy process to turn it into a usable material for fabric. That's why we can't refer to viscose as a natural fabric, because of the processes that it has to go through. Now Liana at Lamaze Fabrics has made me aware of a new viscose brand that is sort of up and coming, and it's a more sustainable, environmentally friendly way of producing viscose. It's similar to Tencel, and a few of the well-known fabric brands like Atelier Brunette and Mind the Maker are actually using this type of viscose in their new fabric collections. The name of it is Eco Vero, and it's a more environmentally eco-responsible viscose. I'll leave a link to the website down below and you can go and have a little bit of a read about it, but I just wanted to make you aware of that. If you have the environment and sustainability as a concern of yours and therefore worry about using viscose, this could be an option for you. So viscose is one of the most commonly used fabrics in garment sewing. It's fantastic for many reasons, which I'll go through in a minute. It's particularly good for making blouses, dresses, skirts, anything really that requires nice drape and movement. Viscose is perfect for that. So if we think about the benefits of viscose, it's very versatile, so it blends well with other fabrics. So you can have a viscose linen, for example. It's a very breathable fabric, making it super comfortable to wear. It drapes really well, as I've mentioned already. While it's lightweight, it is also particularly strong and robust. It's soft and comfortable to wear, it's pretty inexpensive, and there's no static buildup with viscose, so again that helps with the wearability. So now we know a little bit more about viscose. If we want to focus in on Viscose Twill, we need to think about what the difference is. So twill actually refers to the type of weave rather than being a fabric type. So you can get twill in many different fabric compositions because it's not a fabric type, it refers to the pattern of the weave. When twill fabric is woven, it's woven in a diagonal pattern rather than a straight pattern, which would be a satin or a plain weave. So if you're looking at a fabric in your stash or in a shop, for example, and you want to identify whether it is a twill fabric or not, if you look really closely at the weave and the pattern of that, that will help you. Viscose Twill has all of those benefits of viscose that I mentioned earlier, but then it does have a couple of additional benefits. So it has more body to it and it's more stable than a standard viscose, which adds to the versatility of it and the patterns that you can use it for. So it, is particularly suitable then for making trousers, dungarees, which I'll show you a little bit later, whereas viscose might be slightly too lightweight for that. The diagonal weave also enhances the drape, and the fact that it does have more body and it is more stable might mean that it's more suitable for a beginner sewer. So if you're just starting out or you're wanting to experiment with different fabric types but you're a bit worried about using a viscose because of how lightweight it is, then perhaps a Viscose Twill will be a really good place for you to start off, because it has that extra body and doesn't quite move around as much when you're sewing and things like that. So my latest blog make for Lamaze is in a Viscose Twill, and it is this one. Now we'll put photos in for you so you can actually see the garment, but I just wanted you to see the fabric. So here we go. So you can see that it is a striped fabric. As I said, it's a Viscose Twill. It's Mind the Maker, which is a brand of fabric. And this is called Line Flow Charcoal Viscose Twill. So you can see it's got a really dark navy background, and then it's got these equal size stripes in orange, beige, and like a khaki green brown colour. I loved this fabric when I saw it on the website. So I went to the Lamaze website, I looked at the different Viscose Twills available, and there's some florals, there's some animal print, but I just really love this one. And I thought what was missing from my wardrobe was a pair of trousers or a pair of dungarees that I can wear while I'm pregnant. So my eye straight away went to this striped fabric, and I love the colours in it, I love the design. And I started to think about what I could make that would be suitable for my changing pregnant body. And I settled on the Sew House 7 Burnside bibs. Now this is a pattern I've made before a year or so ago, and I loved it. I made it in a linen and I wore those a lot. But I thought it was time to make another pair, and I thought they'd be really comfortable for wearing while pregnant because they've got a lot of room in them. If you make version 2 of the pattern, they don't have any fastenings, there's no zip, there's no darts, and there's a lot of extra room around the waist area that you then pull in with waist ties, and I thought that would be fantastic for my bump. Now if you want to read a little bit more about me making the Burnside bibs, head over to the Lamaze Fabrics website. The blog post is going to be on there and you can read more information. I'm just going to talk you through some of the tips that I've got for working with this particular fabric. So the first thing I would say that is absolutely crucial is testing out different needles. Now, when you're first starting out sewing, you might just use the same needle for all of your projects, for all of the different fabric types that you use, because you're just starting out, and that's fine. But once you start to use a wider range of fabrics, particularly things like a Viscose Twill, you can't just use a universal needle, it's not always going to be suitable. So what I did at the start of my project is I got a scrap of the fabric and I tested out some of my different needles. I tested out a universal needle, ballpoint needle of different sizes, microtex needle, and I found the one which worked with the fabric best. A couple of the needles I tried actually snagged the fabric, and because it's got such a dark background, if this fabric snags, it puts like a white line through it, which is not what you want. Ruins it straight away. So that's why it's so important to test out your needles and discover the most suitable one for your fabric. Don't just test out on a single layer. Test out by folding your fabric over, sewing as if you were sewing a seam, or sewing two pieces of the pattern together, and then just pull your fabric apart, pull that seam apart, and just see how the fabric behaves and reacts to that stitching. Sets of needles aren't very expensive, they're £2 to £3 per pack, so it's worth just in your sewing box having a few different sets of needles so you've always got different types that you can try out. When it came to cutting out this fabric, I did use pattern weights, I did use clips, because it does shift around. Viscose does, Viscose Twill does, not as much as a lightweight viscose, but it definitely does move, so you do want to use pattern weights and clips. I actually clipped the fold line of my fabric onto my cutting mat, so all the way down the side, just to keep it extra secure, and that worked really well. If you use pins, so to pin your seams together before sewing or to pin your pattern pieces on, I would really recommend using fine pins and nice sharp pins with this type of fabric, because again, it can have that snagging issue. When you're sewing with a viscose twill or a viscose, just take your time. Don't rush it because it could shift out of place as you're sewing, so you just want to take it nice and slowly. Also, don't pull your fabric through the sewing machine, just guide it. You will want to finish your seams to prevent any fraying, so that could be with an overlocker, and in the Burnside Bibs pattern that is the recommended seam finish. You could use French seams, for example, so you will want to finish them. Don't leave any raw edges because they will fray. And when you're pressing, just make sure your iron isn't too hot, and if you've got a pressing cloth, that would be even better because you could damage the fabric if you were to burn it. So that's just a few tips for sewing with viscose twill. I'm now going to have a little look at the Lamaze Fabrics website and show you some of the twill fabrics that they have available. So we go on to lamazefabrics.com. Then along the top of the screen, we've got all of the different options that you can choose. And I click on fabric, and you can view fabric by all or by designer, but I like to view it by type. So I scroll down and there's a section in here called Twill Viscose / Cotton. So all of the fabrics in this section are going to be twill fabrics. They're not all going to be viscose, but I'll talk you through a couple of those when we get to them. I'm going to click on there, and then we'll see we've got 68 products. Now I like to actually sort them, and I like to sort them new to old because then I can see if there's any new fabrics that have come in, maybe that I have missed. So sort new to old. Right, so if we have a little look at what we've got a few remnant pieces here along the top. Then there's a couple of ranges here that I just wanted to show you because I think they're beautiful. Now they're not specifically viscose twill, but they're tensile twill. So we've got these tensile grunge jacquard fabrics, which have got a really interesting design on them. I really like this maroon colour. Now these could be used in exactly the same way as a viscose twill. So when it comes to pattern recommendations in a few minutes, these fabrics will be perfect for those as well. I really love these tensile spot jacquard dress fabrics as well. They've got the lovely animal print background. So we've got a nice amber colour, a blueberry. I love the sky colourway. Just a nice light blue colour, it's beautiful. And that cider sort of rust colour is gorgeous as well. Then we've got the striped fabrics. So here you can see the one that I used for my Burnside Bibs, which is the Line Flow Charcoal Viscose Twill. I would highly recommend that fabric. It is incredible to work with. The lines of the fabric, the stripes, actually helped with cutting it out because I could use them as the grain line, and I could use that to help me place my pattern pieces. So that fabric is absolutely perfect for dungarees, overalls, trousers, and you can see in some of the photos that we put up, I've worn a top over the top of my dungarees, so then they look like a pair of trousers. So it really is a perfect fabric. So it comes in that colourway, and then there's also some other colours there. Amanda, who's one of my fellow Lamaze Fabrics bloggers, made a pair of culottes out of one of the other striped colourways as well. There, we've got a few more, so that's just the first page. If we click onto the second page. Again, I like these animal print viscose twills, so the Mind the Maker Mini Leo Rose. If you saw recently, Tilly and the Buttons released an add-on pack to the Indigo pattern, and the main image for that add-on pack was made out of this rose viscose twill fabric. It's really gorgeous. Then there's some linen cotton twills as well. They'll be different in structure to the viscose twills or the tensile twills. They'll be a bit more firm, they'll have a bit more body, more like a linen. We keep going, we've got again some gorgeous Mind the Maker viscose twills, some really lovely patterns there. We've got the terrazzo, then the botanic. Then we've got lots of plains as well, so if you're more into a plain rather than a patterned fabric, there's lots of lovely colour options for you to choose. Then onto the third page, again some more of the plain colours and a cotton twill from Lady McElroy right at the end. So now we've had a look at some of the fabrics, I thought I'd talk you through some pattern recommendations. Now viscose and viscose twill is such a versatile fabric, it can be used for so many different garments, it really can. But I've just picked out a few of my favourite patterns that sprung to mind. I haven't made all of these, but some of them really caught my eye when I was looking at the Lamaze website, and I thought I'd point them in your direction. So starting with Friday Pattern Company, I thought the Avenir jumpsuit would be perfect. I really love that jumpsuit pattern. It's one that I want to make after I've had the baby, but it's just such a beautiful jumpsuit, and I think so many of those fabrics that we just looked at would be perfect for that. The Closet Case Patterns Fior skirt would be great. In particular view A and view B, so they're the views that don't have the pockets and the buttons down the front, so they will be great for a viscose twill. The Cashmerette Hollyoak maxi dress is stunning, and I think that would be beautiful in a viscose twill. It would have that lovely drape but also have that body to it, which is perfect. Another pattern that I would love to make is the Dorata Davies Jasmine dress. It's a t-shirt or a dress. I think it's absolutely beautiful. The Tilly and the Buttons indigo dress. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Tilly and the Buttons actually used some Lamaze fabric for their samples for the new add-on pack for the indigo dress, so that tells you that those fabrics are perfect. There's the Cassiope dress from I Am Patterns, which is another lovely one. The body of the viscose twill would hold those gathers really well, so that's why I've picked that pattern out. The True Bias Shelby dress and romper would be fantastic in a viscose twill. Now, if you watched the Great British Sewing Bee first episode, you may have spotted that Liz made a dress for the tea dress challenge, and that dress was the Shelby dress. Then I've picked out the Rosalie dress by Experimental Space, which is a stunning maxi dress, again perfect for this type of fabric. And then the Grainline Studio Hadley top as well would be fantastic. Then there are so many others that I could have chosen, but I just wanted to pick out a few of my favourites that I think would work particularly well. And all of those are available on the Lamaze Fabrics website as well. So you could go on and you could treat yourself to a pattern and some viscose twill fabric to go with it, and that will be a perfect little treat for yourself. If you do that, please let me know and tag me over on Instagram. I would love to see what you make. Now, usually at the end of these videos, I offer you the chance to vote on the fabric for the next How to Sew With video. I'm not going to do that this time because I am getting towards my due date. I'm in my third trimester, I'm due on July the 7th, so I don't know if there'll be another one of these videos before I have the baby or not. I didn't want to put that additional pressure on myself, so I thought I would just leave it open and we'll just see what happens. I really hope you've enjoyed learning a bit more about viscose twill. I hope it's helped you maybe understand what it is as a fabric if you weren't sure before. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing my pattern suggestions and some of my favourite fabrics that you could choose. I really love my Burnside bibs, I'm really happy with them. Again, just a little reminder, go over to Lamaze Fabrics blog and read all about the making of that garment. And thank you again to Lamaze Fabrics for collaborating with me on this video series. If you haven't seen the previous two videos, so that was how to sew with French terry and how to sew with double knits, please head over and watch those after you've finished watching this one. I think there's a lot of information in there that will be useful to you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you've got anything that you'd like to know or you'd like to ask, please leave it in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Happy sewing. Bye. Or should I say happy fabric shopping? Yeah. Go buy some fabric. Go buy some viscose twill. Happy shopping. Bye. Sets of needles aren't very